Thank you very much, and I also apologize for being tardy today. I was at that meeting with Secretary Kerry, and I happen to believe that our space effort is actually as important as American foreign policy to our future, so I try to run between these two. I've been here 28 years, and of course, Dr. Griffin and I worked together over these years, and I certainly, let me just be on the record that I certainly agree with your concept of making sure we go to Mars, go to the moon before we go onto Mars, and learn a lot as we're doing that, getting back to the moon. What I have seen, Mr. Chairman, is our biggest problem in having a rational space program, is with us. I mean, we just seem to we prioritize projects and we spend money for projects that we can't do. And thus then we end up defunding what we can do. And it's irrational. And I understand, with all due respect to my friend and colleague who's so adamant about going to Mars. I have several of my friends who are that way. We're not ready to go to Mars right now. We don't even know, the technology's not there. But there is the technology and availability of doing things that we can actually accomplish right now. And if we want the respect of the American people, we're going to do it by making sure we get things done, and having a long-term commitment that drains money away from the projects that we can do in order to accomplish something that we can't do now and maybe won't be able to do within our lifetime. That is not being responsible, and frankly, I think that's where the problem comes from. We continually try to finance projects that we are incapable of accomplishing at that moment. And of course, you're going to have a high failure rate if you do that. So I would hope that as we, as I say, I agree with Dr. Griffith on his approach, that we need to step by step. Several of the things we could do, by the way, which we could do, which may be totally unfunded if we just spend all our money on going to Mars, is we have a space debris challenge. We're not going to be able to do anything in space unless we have some sort of space debris program. It'd have to be an international effort. But in the years ahead, it's going to overwhelm us. It's already beginning to overwhelm us. We don't have a global defense system set up so that if an asteroid, and I'll ask this of the panel, if that meteorite that skimmed the surface over in Russia a couple of years ago, instead of being in uninhabited areas, would have hit a major city anywhere in the world and killed hundreds of thousands of people, do you think that would have then changed the entire course and direction of our own space budget? Wouldn't that have been a factor that would have overwhelmed it? And then all of these other programs that we financed, like long-term missions to Mars, would just go by the wayside? So we need to take care of that issue, don't we? Don't we need to take care of space debris? Don't we need to take care of those things that we can get done? And in the private sector, we could leave things up like, by the way, refueling stations, et cetera. There is one other lab, by the way, in terms of the space station. I remember, wasn't the space lab also a huge investment that we just allowed to come down as well?
That was Skylab, sir.
Skylab, excuse me.
Yes, we did. We have an unfortunate record of not preserving our capital assets in space.
Right.
It re-entered in 1979.
Well, again, I would think that the problem of not being able to accomplish our missions can be found right here in the fact that our judgment has been to try to do things we can't do while defunding those things we can do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rohrabacher. The gentleman